morning everyone, or afternoon, wherever you might be. Welcome back. It's been a while and I thought it was time for an update. I'm trying this thing where I don't say sorry for being gone because I want to break out of that habit. I will talk more on just why and things that I've been realising over the course of the whole year, to be perfectly honest with you. Got my dad's dog with me today. He's on his holidays. He's going home tonight. He's been here all week, but you like your attention, don't you? I don't know if any of you remember Bertie from a couple of years ago when he was a puppy, but he's still very much a puppy. So the past month, and it feels like much longer, has been a bit of a wild ride, to be honest. There's just been so much happening. Not all good either, I am sad to say. So I'm getting comfortable in my chair and we're just gonna have a good old-fashioned chatty update. I know some of you don't like chatty updates and you are here for the studio vlogs, but I'm gonna do a bit of explaining in this video, and yeah, let's just crack on with it. So I'll start with the thing that I don't want to get out of the way. That's not what I mean, but I do want to address it because it literally did just like tip me over the edge last week, because there's just been so much going on and it was one of those weeks where things just seemed to get worse. So last Friday, unfortunately, we lost the family dog Finn. Finn was the dog that I grew up with from the age of about 15. He was with us for 14 years and he was brilliant. He was a big part of my life for a very long time and continued to be even after I moved out of my mum's house. But yeah, after just puts it into perspective that everything else that I'm about to talk about just is so, it doesn't matter. But you know, when like just you have a stressful time and you just think, oh, and then something else happens that really does put the cherry on top of a big cake. Prior to that, I have been having, and even continuing throughout that awful week, and then this week just gone as well. So literally the past month has been chaos in small business world, and that is what this video is going to be about, to be honest, along with some other things that I wanted to talk about and have been wanting to talk about for a while. I just haven't really had. It's a scary thing because I want to change some things, and it's just about like the fear of disappointing people or letting people down, which again is something that I'm trying to let go of, because at no point did I sign up to do that. Anyway, one thing at a time, Ellis. So in September I ordered my wooden pins for October Wooden Pin Club on Patreon, and also one last design for 2021. Now if you are on my Patreon, you will know hopefully by now that by the end of October I'm actually going to be removing the physical rewards tiers, because next year I want to go away and remodel them and work out something else. I've been putting a lot of time and work and effort into those tiers this year, and something just isn't quite right with them. I also noticed that I was putting all of this work into the sticker sheets and the pins, and because my illustrations take a while, they're not just a quick doodle, I was noticing that I wasn't really working on anything else. And because these illustrations were not, they're never officially a secret. No one's ever said like they have to be a secret, but I like them to be a surprise. So when my patrons are opening their mail, it's a surprise theme in there, blah blah blah. But I have been using up most of my time on those illustrations, and then I can't show it because of my own brain saying no, this is a surprise for people, so I have to save them for the following month. And I just noticed that all of my time pretty much was going on these illustrations, and I wasn't free to do much else. So I've actually decided to end those physical rewards tiers, and for October I thought we'd go out with a bang. With it being Halloween and it's my favourite time of year, I just thought it would be a great chance to just wind things down and, you know, draw it to a close. So I ordered my pins in September because usually my manufacturer is really quick and speedy and I never have any problems with them. But these pins arrived and they were awful. It was just typical that it would be the last set of wooden pins and the last pins for 2021, and they were shocking. They weren't good. Now, just before we go any further in terms of talking about manufacturers, because I am going to be doing that a lot in this video, I do not recommend manufacturers and I don't share my manufacturers for the following reasons. So reason number one is these two manufacturers that I'm about to tell you about are people that I use all the time. You don't have to be. You may be able to work it out, that's up to you, but I'm not going to sit here and recommend people or not recommend people, because individuals have different experiences, and whilst I might have a terrible experience, you might have a great one, and vice versa. And ultimately I would hate to say, yeah, go to these people, they're brilliant, and then you have a terrible experience with them and your hard-earned pennies, which, let's be honest, it's your money and it's your hard-earned pennies, is wasted, and you have all of the hassle and grief and stress of dealing with it and all of the admin that comes with trying to sort these things. I just don't want that on my conscience. I don't want to recommend somewhere and then you have a bad time. It's just a blip. It's just one of those things that happens. It's not like my enamel pin experience a couple of years back where I was like, this is a manufacturer I used, would not recommend, because I had such a terrible experience and it wasn't the first. It wasn't going to be the last, and I no longer use them. I know questions like that are probably going to be asked in this video. Who did you use? All that kind of stuff, but I just won't be answering the question, unfortunately, because it's something I choose not to do. Also, with my most recent faff with a printer manufacturer, hopefully you'll be able to understand, but basically I've had a lot of grief over the last few weeks with printed goods like greeting cards, paper goods, that kind of thing, and just the amount of time that I have spent trying to source a new manufacturer to then give that information away with a click of a finger is a bit of a joke. Because all of us small businesses at some point, I mean, between small business friends, like if you want to swap manufacturer information, like me and my close small business friends do it all the time, but like to just give the information away for free willy-nilly when I've just literally spent an entire week researching, ordering paper samples, emailing people, asking for quotes, that kind of thing. It's just, time is money at the end of the day, and as brutal as that sounds, I'm trying to remind myself to see it from a business perspective, which I have to do. So anyway, just clarification there, I will not be answering questions like, oh, who did you use, because I don't also want to badmouth these people. Things have been solved, I mean partly solved by the last one. I'm just waiting on a refund. Oh my goodness. So if you've ever had a wooden pin from me, I mean this is the last design for 2021. I'm not going to be able to show you the October design that my patrons are receiving this month, that they're all on their way, so hopefully if you're in the UK at least you should have had them, but if you're overseas it might just take a bit longer. So that one I'm not going to show in this video just because of the surprise thing, but this one is the pin for this, the last one for this year basically, and it's going to be dropping into my shop hopefully on Saturday. So a week today when I'm filming it, it'll be the 30th of October. That's the date for your diaries if you're interested, and I am going to be showing you all of my Christmas stock for this year as well. And if you've ever had a wooden pin from me, you'll know that they do have like a little wooden border around the outside of the design, and that is because, can you see the chips on the ends? That is because we don't want this to happen, everybody. So for some reason, and when I got my, God, this one's, you can see it like in person. I don't know if it's showing up on camera, and you might be sat there thinking, oh, this is fine. That if I wouldn't be happy to receive this, I'm not going to send it to you either. So that's how it works. My rules, those are my rules. So I always put the border on because it just helps smooth out the design a bit, and you don't get, obviously if we look at these together, obviously you can see the sharpness of this one and how the design has been rounded out a bit, and smoothed, so there are no pointy edges that are at risk of being chipped like this one. So that's why I personally add a border. And if you're unsure about going into like the wooden pin or wooden anything sort of product line, I would say that is something to consider, because I didn't want them like this. I designed them like this for a reason. But yeah, they came, and 90% of each design, so there was 2 different designs, the Pin Club one and then this one for the shop, 90% of each of them were like this and just unacceptable basically. And oh, I've dropped it on the floor. Also, for how much manufacturers, like the manufacturing process, it's a lot of money. So I've not only spent the money on these products, but it's also time as well. We have to remember that time is money. I'm trying to remember that as much as I can, but it's time that I don't get paid for at the end of the day. I just don't understand really why the border was removed. So I am in the process of thinking of something to do with these, because my concern is that if they have already started chipping just from being shipped to me and peeled, because they come with a protective sort of sticker on them, that they're just going to continue chipping. So it's not even as though I wouldn't even be comfortable selling them as seconds, because I'm not confident with how these will withstand just general wear and use. And that's why we have a border, because it smooths it out and massively reduces any risk. I've never seen any of the pins chip from having the smooth border, whereas the sharp edges, they're just much easier to chip, I suppose. But yeah, that was that. There was a delay with getting my Patreon post out, and just a lot of emailing back and forward, blah blah blah. And usually when one thing happens, I'm just like, okay, let's just deal with it. But then all of my paper goods arrived for Christmas. So something else, that much more positive thing that has happened since I last spoke to you, was I have now got a stockist. And I know earlier in the year I said I had a stockist, but that one fell through. I was pretty much ghosted. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna beat about the bush. I was a bit ghosted. But recently I have found a new stockist who I couldn't feel more comfortable with. They are so lovely, so friendly, so welcoming. It feels like family already. Just to be a part of their team of creators is just so lovely. I'm so happy. It's a highlight for this year. So I've been working away like a busy little bee trying to get my Christmas stuff ready, not only for the stockist but also to have in my own shop. So I knuckled down, and that's why I've been quiet as well, and the videos went a bit slack, because I've just been working really hard on the illustration side of things. And to be honest, let's talk about the videos towards the end, because we're in a juicy pool of manufacturing. I have to show you something, because it's just it still tickles me, and this joke is a week old now, but it's still getting me, you know. So you know when you also pay for like next day delivery and things like that, and then what arrives instead of your order. So what I ordered was wrapping paper, gift tags, greeting cards and bookmarks, all in a Christmas theme. Look what arrived instead of that. Now just bear in mind, everyone, that this thing that I'm about to show you has changed in no way, shape or form since I unwrapped it. I just can't understand. I received a ripped open. I have not done this. This was what was in one of those hardbacked envelopes. I'm not kidding right now. I wish I was, but I'm not. A ripped open packet of plain A4 printer paper. I'm not going to tell you how much I spent on printed goods just for this to arrive, but it's safe to say, everyone, that I was far from impressed. I'm laughing now, but can we just all appreciate that I wasn't at the time? There was steam coming from every orifice on my face. Never in my life have I represented Hades more. So I got onto my manufacturer and was trying to sort this one out, because meanwhile we also have to appreciate that somewhere out there is a very large order of printed goods that has gone to somebody else out there in the ether. I don't know where they are. I don't know if someone's selling them. No one's contacted me because obviously it's got all my small business details printed on the backs of them. And no one's contacted me to say, hey, look, this arrived with me. So I don't know where they are. I literally don't know, which is why I was so firm. And I was like, look, someone out there's got my work. You're replacing this now. And they did. And it arrived and it was questionable. So the bookmarks and the gift tags, let's just start with the bookmarks. The bookmarks looked like they'd been cut with a butter knife. The gift tags were off center. The prints were faded. The print quality on the paper was just awful. They were faded around the edges. There was actual machine marks like scuffs and indents in the card. The wrapping paper was beautiful, so I've actually kept some of the greeting cards and the wrapping paper because I didn't want to waste stuff that was fine. Unfortunately, everything else has had to go back in order for me to get a refund, which I understand, but in terms of being, you know, I'm a waste conscious person, I believe they're recycling it, but it's just on my mind that it's like it's out of my hands and I had to send it back in order to get my refund so that I could try and go somewhere else. So of course I could have asked them to reprint it again, but for all I know, if they didn't get it right that time, we could have been going around in circles for a few weeks, like back and forwards with shipping and things. And I just thought, whilst I'm waiting for an answer from them, like a resolution, I'll just try and find another manufacturer. So that's what I was doing that week, going back and forwards, ordering paper samples, looking at prices. Annoyingly, what I had to do, because I found a manufacturer but they didn't offer the same paper size or paper stock. I wanted a textured card, which I know is not the end of the world, but you know, you just have a vision in your head and then it's not achievable. You wouldn't believe how hard envelopes are to get hold of at the moment either, but they forgot to send the envelopes in my order, so my order turned up in this naff condition, but there was also no envelopes for the cards either, and I was just like, what am I paying you for? I don't want to be a knob, but I feel like a knob right now. Anyway, I did find a new manufacturer, but it meant that I had to set up the artwork files again to meet this new size card requirement, because originally the cards were square. They are now A6, so I also had to spend double the amount of time working out artwork files, resetting them up, as well as finding a manufacturer itself, prices, print quality, samples, production times. I just don't understand. I do not understand. You wouldn't really believe it, I guess, unless you are in this world yourself. I know a lot of you, most of you I think, are also small businesses or you're creatives of some kind, and we're all in this together, and this happens to everybody. Like, this happens to everybody at some point. And yes, I will use said manufacturers again. It's not like the experience was terrible, it was just massively inconvenient for them to happen literally at the same time, and you just wouldn't believe the amount of time it takes to try and rectify these issues. It's unreal, and that's why I was getting my wand in such a knot, because I was like, I just don't have time for this, I don't have time for this. Trying to get everything ready for like the festive season, which is the busiest time of the year for most of us, and yeah, just anyway, I'm gonna show you the new stuff that's coming out on Saturday next week, and then I'm gonna talk to you about my thoughts, further thoughts and feelings, and then it will be time for lunch because I'm a little bit peckish. So let's do the printed stuff first. I do have fabric to show you, which I'm buzzing about, absolutely buzzing. You've seen the wooden pins. So first of all, let's talk about wrapping paper. This is it. It's A2. I have a few sheets. I didn't get loads because I've never done wrapping paper before and I didn't know how I'd feel about it. I didn't know what it was going to turn out like, but I'm so happy with it. Look how cute it is. It's just, this is my prototype box. my sample, my photo prop. I believe it's fully recyclable, but that's why I was a bit unsure, because obviously wrapping paper is a wasteful product. But if you're anything like me, I recycle wrapping paper and I open presents very carefully and I fold it up and I use it the next year, because that's just how inclined I am. Anyway, yeah, I just thought for this year I'd give it a go, and this is the design that I went with. So we've got gingerbread, we've got Christmas cookies, candy canes, holly, mistletoe, if you will. Oh, and Christmas puddings are on there as well. So I do have a few sheets available. And they will be added into the shop, all of this together, next Saturday. The Christmas cards I kept were the white ones, so I do have some with the Christmas cookie, Christmas tree, and they're just plain on the back, plain on the inside. I don't know if you can see, but there is a lovely texture on them. They are really, really nice. It's just that the full colour ones were not okay, so I've got them printed somewhere else and they're absolutely fine, but my guess is because these are not full colour and the colour doesn't extend all the way to the edges, that's why these ones have not faded. These ones are fine, there's nothing wrong with them. I also revamped my twin foxes design, because I know this is a favourite for a lot of you, but I just thought I'd make it a festive one. So it's gone from being pink and yellow and green to now dark blue with holly and mistletoe. And then the ones that I had to get remade, if you can imagine them as square, please go ahead, do that. But they're not square. But it's not the end of the world, because these will come out really nicely. So we've got the gingerbread one, just plain on the back again with plain inside. When I say plain, I just mean plain and simple. But yes, gingerbread design, gone for season's greetings. And then this one, which I was working on during the whole debacle with admin and going back and forth with emails. So like in between all of the emails, I was like, sod it, I'll just do another one. And this is the one that I have come up with. So all in all, 5 new greetings cards, a new pin, wrapping paper, and then I know a lot of you like the fabric ventures that we go into, but the fabric also matches. So with the fabric, I have been doing the pouches. So these ones are zipped, and I've gone with a really booming, strong, contrasting lining. I thought the zipped ones would be great. This is how I envision these to be made useful. Is, you know, when you're wrapping presents and it's late in the evening, you've got a candle on and the Grinch is on in the background, and you've got a hot chocolate with a candy cane sticking out of it with squirty cream and sprinkles and marshmallows. This is my vision, go with it. And you have sellotape, scissors, ribbons and gift tags that you always lose and misplace. Well, I thought this is the perfect size to pop all of those items inside, and this could be your gift wrap caddy. Keep everything together, depending on your supply levels. I mean, if you're crazy with bows and ribbons, might not all fit, but in terms of keeping some scissors and sellotape and some gift tags organised, you know, just a thought. That's what I'm going to be doing with mine anyway. And then drawstring bags. So these can be used for a similar thing, or you can use them as actual gift giving bags. So I don't know, maybe you could pop some jewellery in there, or some biscuits, or just something small. I don't know, you could put gift cards in there. I don't know, whatever you like to give that is small drawstring bag worthy. I did think about doing some slightly bigger ones, however there is a big bad boy coming right now, and in terms of, like, you know, just using up a lot of fabric, I was like, just stick to one big thing from the fabric this year, and that is these. I've made my own stockings. So again, they are lined with red. They've got a red ribbon so you can hang them up. This is a template of my own design. Let's face it, Ellis, you can't really go wrong with a stocking shape, but I was just so excited. Made my own template out of cardboard so I could draw around it multiple times for making stockings, and yeah, it's a decent size. It's pretty big, so you know, you can pop these at the end of your bed or hang them on the mantelpiece, however you traditionally like to use your stocking. Maybe it is a Christmas Eve box for your kiddies or yourself, and you want to put activities in here with treats, or, you know, just stocking fillers traditional way. These are going to be up in the shop as well, and I'm very proud of them. I'm very happy. So yeah, that is what I've been doing, and that's why I've been a bit absent. So I think what's really thrown me off, and now I'm going to talk about feelings and things like that, what's really thrown me off this year in general is just the whole feeling of being really burnt out. And I've said this a lot this year, but I decided to, because I just kept saying it to myself, I'm so tired, I'm so burnt out, and I was like, Ellis, what are we going to do about it though? So I actually took myself into another room with a notebook and a pen, and I just sat there with my thoughts, and gradually it all started to come out, which is something that I've learned from journaling. And I also started journaling again a couple of weeks ago, and was a little bit horrified, to be honest, to see that the entry before that was a month earlier. So I had totally neglected journaling and meditation and all of that kind of stuff that I've adopted over the last couple of years. After everything, I realised that I'd let it slip, which is just not good for up here, because it really helps me. And I realised after just sitting with my notebook and my pen for a bit that this entire year I've just felt really unfulfilled and a bit unbalanced. I'm not feeling a great sense of balance right now. And then come the festive season, I'm really excited and happy with what I've managed to do this year, but it's literally one of the first times this year that I've actually felt, and I feel awful saying this, but a certain level of joy from what I've been doing and my work. And it's made me reevaluate a few things. One of the first things I really want to reevaluate is studio vlogs and how they make me feel. And as much as I love sharing behind the scenes and what I get up to, and as much as I know that you love watching them, they are not fulfilling to make anymore, at least with the regular basis that I was making them, like literally once a week. And I find it really difficult to keep them sprightly, keep them interesting. And I know that you're all going to be like, it's fine, we love watching you do whatever. Like, you could be planting potatoes and it'd be interesting, but just making them is really quite tiring. And I can't believe I'm talking about numbers, because honestly it doesn't matter, but I'm only human, and my channel has been suffering for like the past couple of years now. The views are really bad, the engagement's really bad. I don't know if it's because people are not seeing the videos, or I don't know, I just don't know what it is. You all know that my comments last year were being turned off as well, and I have no idea why. And ever since then, like, just the whole engagement on my channel has been awful. So to then put all of the time into making these videos, and then for people to not be seeing them, and for the video to perform really badly, it's soul crushing sometimes. I'm like, why did I bother? You know, it's just, I don't want to seem ungrateful, but I think it was Hannah Witten the other day was talking about, I was watching her videos and she was talking about that we shouldn't have to say all the time that we are grateful, just for people to know that we are. I hope you all know that I'm grateful for the job that I do, and I also know though that I work really hard and that I've worked hard to get here, but that doesn't mean I'm any less grateful for the position that I'm in. But what's weird about choosing to put yourself online is that you regularly have to remind people of how grateful you are, and it can feel really awkward sometimes to talk about the negatives because you don't want to seem ungrateful. Does any of that make sense? I'm really, like, I struggle to talk about this because of how I don't want it to come across in a way that I don't intend, and I find it really difficult at times to articulate my words. But there's also this that I've been watching a lot of Holly Exley recently. You know that Holly is one of my favourite illustrators, and if you too have been feeling in this weird rut with regards to your artistic work and the industry, like, Holly talks about the industry a lot and is very educational and eye-opening. She honestly is a beacon of light in this weird tunnel of uncertainty. But Holly like just nailed it on the head, and I've been feeling like this. It's the fact that when you are a creative, and I'm sure it happens with a lot of other jobs as well, but I know for a fact, because this is the job that I do, that your identity is like woven into your job, or your job is woven into your identity. And I can't tell you the amount of times that people in real life have come up to me, and rather than say how are you, they'll say how's business. And I know that they mean well. I know that they don't mean to make it seem as though they've forgotten how you are, but just being asked how's business in place of how are you, it's like I'm still a person. And just the fact that your identity is just so, it kind of, the lines are blurred sometimes, is what I feel, and I think a lot of us are feeling that this year. I'm also just feeling more private in general with what I want to share, what I'm comfortable with sharing, which is also again why I'm trying to not apologise. Like, usually I'll open a video and say sorry I've been gone, but we shouldn't have to apologise for just taking a step back and taking that time that we feel that we need to slow down and focus on other areas of our lives. I don't think I ever really noticed it before until last year, when everything happened, like personally, that I don't want to go into because it's still rough and it still hurts. But after that I realised how invasive some people can be with questions and just expectations of, like, just because I share this snippet of my life doesn't mean that I'm comfortable sharing all of it, if that makes any sense. And like, boundaries were crossed a lot last year, and I had to block people. I had to explain to people over and over again that I wasn't comfortable being asked certain questions. What also is more apparent to me the longer that I am on social media is you choose to have this teeny tiny window into your life. It's literally this big. And it's just human nature as well. Like, I understand why people do it, but I guess in an ideal world, what I would love to see happening is just human beings being more conscious of not painting the rest of the picture. So if we're seeing this much, you end up imagining and putting together pieces of that person that don't actually exist. And over the last few months, I've felt really bad at times because people have made me feel like I'm not who they thought I was. But that's again not on me, and we can't control that. We can't control what people think of us. And also, like, when that disappoints somebody, when they say, oh, I didn't expect this of you, you've disappointed me with your point of view, or something like that, or I never expected you to do this. It's kind of like, at what point did I give you the assumption? And it's just a lot. There's a lot swimming around my head right now, and just a lot has been happening in the background. This year has been really, really tough for business, just for various reasons, like it has been for so many people. I know that much. As awful as it sounds, I'm so glad that I'm not alone, and I can go to my small business friends and they too are feeling the pressure. I've also been really considering this whole, looking into and just being aware of what hustle culture is, and being made to feel like you have to be present all the time and reply to messages instantaneously, and keep doors open, like be available and accessible all the time. It's just not possible, and it's also not healthy. So what I've been doing is just thinking about, what do I want to do about this? So in the new year, things are definitely going to be rejuggled. I'm just going to take the rest of this year, like, cruise on through, and just try and have fun with my work again, because another thing I noticed was I have not been enjoying what I've been making in terms of the artwork itself, and I want to just root myself back to that, because earlier this year and even last year I was in a really good place, and I was just pumping out artwork that I was so happy to produce because it made me feel good, and it felt like I was releasing parts of tension that was built up over the last few months of, like, trauma and grief. And then this year I feel like I've just been banging it out just because I've needed something to bang out, and yes, it's a privilege to be able to say, yeah, I want to work on what makes me feel good and not what sells. That is an absolute privilege. So I'm also trying to find a balance with that. So how can I sustain my business and keep working as an artist whilst also taking care of myself? And it's weird. As soon as you monetize your hobby, it gets weird. And it sounds like the dream until you realise that it becomes, for a lot of people, difficult to have that separation and have the divide, the boundaries in place, especially in terms of your downtime and your mental health and having activities and things to do in your spare time. And don't get me wrong, I still love my job, I love what I do, and I adore being surrounded by this wonderful community and the friends that I've made and just the places that my work has gone over the last 2 years. Like, yes, the last 2 years have been rough as a badger's body, but the places that, the things that it's unlocked within me has been incredible. These are just some thoughts that I've been having. I've even wrote them all down because, you know, it's serious when Ellis writes notes for a video, which is a huge rarity. But yeah, that's how I've been feeling, and I just wanted to get it off my chest. I want to bring some different kinds of videos in. It will still be arty kind of videos, but also I just want to go away and see exactly what that means to me. If you have ideas, they're welcome, because I'm always interested to know what you want to see. Whether it's more realism drawings or drawing tutorials, I can always try my best. But just studio vlogs, I'm just gonna, like, I don't want to stop doing them because ultimately I enjoy making them. It's just that the level that I was doing them like every single week and trying to keep them fun and upbeat and interesting, when actually I'm a very boring individual. Not much goes on in these parts of my woods and I'm as average as they get. And it's hard to try and make your everyday life like bouncy and interesting. But yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go have some food, and I hope you're all doing well. Please let me know what you've been up to over the last 4 weeks. If you've had manufacturing issues and some hilarious stories that you'd like to share. If anyone can top, please do top the ripped open package of printer paper. I would love to hear your stories in the comments. Please let me know. But yes, for now I'm gonna go have some food and go sort that dog out. I don't know what he's doing. Oh, Bertie Bassett. And yeah, I will be back soon.